It's the 10 to 1 podcast with your host, Brad Oman, featuring Ben Conowitz and Nate Laux. And here's the podcast.
Not as good. Not as good as the last couple.
No, that's how you fucking do it, you morons. Holy shit.
Come on, we tried our worst.
Like listening to two people who don't know how to read try to do an audiobook.
I tell you what, we give you so much crap for it until
It's
you start
hard.
doing it
Wait a minute.
yourself.
What did you say?
I don't know.
Did you the host first? no, he makes himself the host.
What? Let me say though, because Ben was giving me crap last week, and I want to go on record by saying I just checked our stats for how our listens.
Oh boy.
My listens are higher than yours. My episode that I did, so I assume that I did a much better job at the introduction because people turned it off right after you did yours.
Oof,
so
rough.
Yeah, no, I had to do Jacob Ulio arrested guy in Australia.
I feel like
you got to do freaking the return of Justin Timberlake. I think that probably has a lot more to do.
okay, he did not
Jacob
host.
Elordi is hot.
Yeah, but he just
SNL made it very clear. Jacob Elordi is hot.
Yeah,
That was the only premise to every sketch they
we
did.
covered that, Brad. If you would have listened.
So let's talk about the Jacob Elordi episode. No, I will give my
It's good
brief.
it is good to have you back, buddy.
It is.
Thank
good
you.
to
No,
see
it is. It's going to be. It honestly feels like it's been so long since I've been away. I went to London for work. I came back. I got sick. Thankfully, it wasn't COVID.
Let's skip over that. Let's humble brag a little bit. What were you doing in London?
No. It's a humble Brad.
Yeah.
Yes, it's true. I went to London to attend a press junket for Matthew Vaughn's movie Argyle, where I got to interview people like John Cena and Bryan Cranston and Bryce Dallas Howard. And
How large is John
Ariana
Cena?
DeBose. He's very big. He was sitting down, so I didn't get like the full.
Is his head big? His head seems
It
big.
is. He's just very thick in general.
Have you ever met Peyton Manning?
I haven't.
Because I was going to compare their heads. Like who's the larger head?
I think John Cena's head is bigger, but it does have a similar shape.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Does John Cena have as big of a forehead, though?
No.
No,
Peyton Manning
definitely
has a
not.
7 head.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
does.
absolutely.
He knows that.
But hey, I do want to talk about Argyle because I saw it, but we're going to talk about that on Go Flix Yourself.
Indeed, we
okay?
are. And I will just briefly say the last 2 episodes of SNL were underwhelming for the most part. The Jacob Elordi episode was the worst of the
Yep.
2.
Agreed.
All they did was talk about how hot he was. I did like the bowling sketch. I thought that was very funny.
I don't even remember that episode, honestly.
The pacing though was like it was rough because he's not very skilled at comedy. So like and also whenever he does an American
I
accent,
don't know if he's even that good at acting.
No,
is he?
he's not very good.
he's a pretty good actor. But whenever he does an American accent on SNL though, it always sounds like hey, he's from New York.
I just don't know. The audition process just for me wasn't that bad.
And Dakota Johnson, like, it kind of felt like she was on Quaaludes the whole episode.
She's
and
just so stilted. We talked about her stilted delivery.
The only
ruined
good
everything.
sketch, like, by far, was the Please Don't Destroy roast. Like, that was
So
hilarious. And it was just
so
because they
good.
let her be a bitch, you know?
Well, no, and they did the nepotism thing. Like,
And she does that really believably.
if you're gonna do a roast but then you pull punches, of course the audience doesn't respect that.
Even the return of Justin Timberlake, I felt like the Barry Gibb talk show, it was like, okay, I guess.
I said that.
Yeah, like, I mean, I just felt off to me.
I was nostalgic about it. It was nice to have them back.
I just was like, wow, something's missing.
Yeah,
But
it felt...
I just said that Jimmy Fallon's voice just can't do it anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Is good.
It felt messy. It felt messy.
It has felt like the last many episodes.
But this is a new episode.
I want to say this. There have been a couple timing issues in just camera work and timing for the cast members. It just seems like there's direction off in these
However,
sketches.
Nate and I, and even before that, Brad, had started talking about how the fact that the host really does have so much more to do with it than the writers.
It sets the pace for the sketch, and it can throw everything off.
It throws the direction off. If you were behind and they're waiting, then they're like, okay, and I guess we're going to wait. Fuck, we have to wait. Keep waiting.
Yeah.
Okay, cut to 2. And now Keenan's like, is it on me?
Yeah, exactly.
That really ruins it. And that didn't happen when? This episode.
Nope. And there's a couple of Dakota Johnson sketches that you and I talked about that
would have been
are
great.
good sketches, and they're
Would have been
well
great
written.
ones.
Would have been great with
in
a
the
better
hands
performer.
of someone like
Ayo Edebiri,
Ayo
who
Edebiri.
hosted the 3rd episode of 2024, by far the best episode of the year.
Yeah, episode of the year.
So for those of you who, if you maybe didn't know before this, Ayo Edebiri is the co-star of The Bear. She just won an Emmy for
Do you guys
her role
watch
on
The
the
Bear?
show.
Yes.
Love The Bear.
Love
It's
The
fan-
Bear.
Amazing show. If you haven't watched The Bear, do yourself a favor.
After this podcast,
It is.
Yeah.
we're in the shadow of Chicago where we're at, where we record this at, and it is a love letter to the city of Chicago. I love it so much.
In the best way.
In the best
awesome.
way.
It's awesome.
And it's also a very high anxiety show too, so be prepared
Which
for that.
for most people in Chicago live with. So
yeah, but
all of our families in Northwest Indiana are like, this is normal. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you're fighting over the holidays. That's what we do.
So Ayo Edebiri hosted this episode. It's her first time hosting. Jennifer Lopez was the musical guest. And yeah, let's just dig into the episode because it's a really good episode, I think, for the most part.
Yeah, lots to talk about. All right, CNN Town Hall, South Carolina, cold open. Written by Mike DeCenzo, Allison Gates, James Austin Johnson, Colin Jost, and Jake Nordwind. Gail King, played by Punky Johnson, and Charles Barkley, played by Kenan Thompson, hosted a town hall with Donald Trump, played by James Austin Johnson. The sketch also featured performances by Michael Longfellow, Heidi Gardner, Devin Walker as Tim Scott, and Ayo
Edebiri.
I'm going to get that wrong. Yep. There was also a cameo appearance by Governor Nikki Haley. Did you guys... I want to get into some tea about this that I saw online afterwards. Let's talk about the performance of the sketch. We're into political season right now. It's not about having political cold opens. We're going to get those. Do you think they did anything in this that was worth mentioning?
So I appreciated throwing a curveball by having Gail King and Charles Barkley be the host of the town hall. It was a nice way to mix it up because they actually do have a real show.
Is it called King Charles?
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Holy shit! I thought that was made up.
I don't know why I'm not watching it.
No, but honestly, I was like, good for you, writers. That's a really clever thing to do.
No, they do have a real show. But yeah, so that was kind of a funny spin on. Otherwise, it would have been just let's just repeat exactly what happened.
Yep.
And the one bit with James Austin Johnson as Trump that I did like was him finding the conspiracy theories among Taylor Swift's album track list. So I thought, and they've done something similar like that before, where he runs.
They used
through.
to do it where they all hit, and then the only thing to speak to that, the only thing I didn't really love is that. I don't know why you don't just spend a little extra time and like connect those other three things because to me it is a little lazy to be like and three things that I couldn't really come up with and that feels like the writers being like three things I really couldn't come up with.
But that also in itself is kind of like a joke on Donald Trump because obviously he's not going to make sense of everything because he's just a fucking idiot.
Sure. No, that makes sense.
But yeah, otherwise, kind of a dud. The usual kind of shit. And also, I'm going to throw it out there and just talk about how frustrating it is to give somebody like Nikki Haley screen time on SNL.
I do want to talk about that because Bowen Yang had a bit of a passive-aggressive post. I don't know if you guys saw this about Nikki Haley.
I did.
Appearing on the show, but then took it down.
Yeah.
Because
it was a picture of
Lauren was like, "Hey, after James Chappelle's shit, we got to wrap this up, Bowen."
It was a picture of a welcome card that said, Ambassador Haley, thank you for coming to SNL, blah blah blah.
From Lauren and everyone.
From Lauren and everyone. And
everyone?
Yeah, he put everyone smiley face. That's all he put on Instagram with a picture of the card.
But did delete it.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure. So they've had Elon Musk on here, which after Elon became crazy, they had him. They've had Donald Trump in 2015. What do you guys think about this?
So here's the thing I will defend to a certain extent is SNL has always given Republicans and Democrats even time.
John McCain hosted.
John McCain, Sarah Palin has been on. They have fun with politicians. The problem is the landscape has changed so much, and there's so much more that's toxic about it now that giving some of these people a platform. In the same way, like the worst one that really just was like a kind of game changer overall for how this works was having Donald Trump host leading up to the election because it normalized his bullshit and his nonsense and his toxicity and all that shit. And so
it let everybody know, look, even the liberals know that he's a real candidate and this is a real election.
It's just a crazy Uncle Donald.
Yeah,
right?
And so now when you bring in people who are saying, crazy things and stupid, ignorant bullshit and like giving them time to be like poke fun at themselves, but not really, because like even having Ayo Edebiri, bring up the slavery
that was
Civil
so
War thing,
hard to watch.
Yeah,
because she clearly gave her that smirk, like you fucking bitch.
Yeah,
for real. And then, I should have probably said that the first. You couldn't come up with anything else.
I know, right? And
a little bit more of a.
And that's the thing. It was almost like they gave her a window to like kind of apologize, except not really.
It was horrible.
Yeah, it really rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, I probably should have said that the first time is not an apology. Like if in that moment, honest to God, if in that moment Nikki Haley would have been like, I want to take a real moment to say I was wrong.
Yeah.
That could have been honestly kind of impactful, but instead they're like,
yeah,
I was so wrong. This is the answer.
Exactly. Yeah, I've learned so much, and I am so sorry.
But she
would have been awesome,
and
but
she won't, and she's trash.
Yeah, exactly.
She's not going to win anyway. But so
Well, I know I'm voting for Trump, so.
Well, that's a secret to nobody that listens to our podcast. But
Okay, I kind of want to cut that.
so anyway, so obviously it's going to be Trump and Biden this coming year. Do you think they're going to bring either one of them onto the show?
I mean,
Trump, no.
Trump, no.
No, for
they
sure.
just can't. They can't.
But will they bring Biden?
I mean, I just don't think he's got the time.
Yeah.
Between like
all the naps.
Yeah, exactly. So
Kamala Harris, maybe.
Sure.
Kamala Harris.
They brought in. I think they brought in Pete Buttigieg once when he was running for the primary. But.
No one. I mean, this is not a political. We should call this, but no one is going to be running against Biden.
I mean, they're running against Biden right now. They're just not competing. There's a couple like Marianne Williams and kind of characters.
Okay. Or Gorgon Flembo.
Honestly, Gorgon 2024.
So yeah, that's cold open. A couple high points, but
also I learned. I don't know if this is true, but I did read this because I always check.
I learned, but I don't know if this is true.
Yeah, well,
thanks,
I read.
The election.
I got an email
rigged.
from my great aunt about this, so I'm going to share it. But I did read it from Live from New York on Reddit that AOC was actually in the audience of that episode this weekend.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So one of the audience members that was there said AOC was there.
That's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ben. She's on comments.
And seemed to be having a great time.
I know who she is. She was a bartender.
All right.
That's why Ben knows who she is.
Moving on, Ayo Edebiri?
Ayo Edebiri.
Damn it.
Wow.
Fucking hell, man.
I know. It's going to be bad. Guys.
Ayo Edebiri.
Yes.
Ayo Edebiri.
Yep.
Ayo Edebiri.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not going to get that. All right. Written by Mike DeCenzo, Alex English, Jake Norwood, and Gary Richardson. As she hosts for the first time, actress Ayo Edebiri discusses... Did I do that right?
You did.
All right. Discusses preparing for a role on The Bear and shares some ideas she wanted to submit to SNL. Was Ayo crying or getting emotional?
Yeah, she definitely got emotional when she said that it was like a dream come true. Like it kind of like crept up on her. She was like, "Oh boy."
Yep, I loved that. Yeah. I love when hosts feel the moment
because organic. It was
this
organic.
is a big for anybody that loves comedy, as a stand-up comedian should. So this is Mount Rushmore. This is big.
Did not know her background in stand-up in New York. Mm-hmm. So clearly, I mean, she mentioned it 3 times.
Yeah,
and so she's clearly very passionate and. It's a real starter for the bottom now. I'm here for moment for real for her, and to see her get that catch in her throat.
Yep.
And she walked out like a fucking boss. By the way, she looked incredible.
Yeah,
she had command immediately. Great.
Delivery. I won't go that far. I do feel like you could tell
thought she was nervous.
Yeah, you could tell she was nervous. She didn't let it like necessarily ruin it, but you could tell that she was slowly getting comfortable as it went on.
For a stand-up, she seemed pretty tied to the cue cards,
in
my opinion.
I agree.
Which I don't blame her. I would be as well.
Yeah. I totally get it. At the same time, though, I think that the fact that the monologue was, in my opinion, so good.
Yeah.
Like, I immediately was on her side. And again, I've said
she's
this over and
also
over again.
adorable and fun and wonderful.
When the host comes out and they do the monologue, you're going to see what kind of show it's going to be, of course. Mm-hmm. You will know if it's honestly going to be a good episode or not. That's really a good telltale point where this person is committed and affable enough to pull this off. And yes, even though the nerves, but she still pushed through and was great.
And it was good. It was good. I wrote down the hop onto it now. Which the idea of having Keenan saying that, I can actually see it. A sketch doing that, but
and just even her leaning into the sign and say, "Burn it!" Just it takes
which seemed to be almost her little personality coming out.
Exactly.
Like just
who she really is. I loved it.
You like it? What do you think?
I did. Yeah, I like her and I like this and it's
I like her and I like this. This is fun.
All right, Why'd You Say It? Written by Mike DeCenzo and Jake Nordwin. Game show contestants played by Ayo. Andrew Smukes and Mikey Day answer questions about comments they left on Instagram. Kenan Thompson plays the role of the game show host, Danny Donegan. Hey, Brad, why'd you say it?
I always love when they do a game show bit that turns into like breaking down like these like social things that happen that no one like.
What's that name?
Yeah. So like, and the comments are like just so perfect and like emblematic of what actually is out there. And like,
I like that it's a real one, but because it's a real Drew Barrymore clip.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome.
Exactly.
Die.
And people did make fun of that online quite a bit, but
still would smash.
But I do see these comments online all the time. I'm like, who's writing this stuff?
Yeah.
Like,
I love the sidebar one too when Kenan Thompson said people who say cool on a trailer that's on YouTube when you could have just smiled to yourself and went about your day.
Listen to Go Fix Yourself, where we review trailers, by the way.
But we don't post on YouTube.
We don't.
No, we should. We're not cool enough for that.
Anyway, so the only thing that was, I mean, I like that for the first time in a long time. You said we like meet your second wife. What's that name? All of these making fun of the contestants. For the first time, Mikey Day's character just gets and just walks out.
I love that. Yeah,
and that's an escalation of all of these kind of very similar premises.
Yeah.
Finally, we got one that's like, why would you actually be on that show? And he walked away. And then they filled it in with somebody. And I loved it because they didn't reintroduce the premise. He goes, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I love sketches that have enough bit of truth to it. And it reminded me, because I think this all the time, because I watch different clips on YouTube. I'm on YouTube more than I've ever been because there's different things that are on there that I want to watch. And there are always comments on a YouTube clip or an Instagram reel where it is just, why would anyone feel the need to comment on that?
Yeah.
So I love this bringing, other people have noticed. These writers noticed it. Let's bring this in and make
Congress hot. At a party, mid. Still smash, though. And AOC clearly in the audience for that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
That is funny.
I didn't
Never
even think about that. Yeah.
If that's true. All right, moving on. Dune Popcorn Bucket, written by Dan Bulla and Stephen Castillo, a group of teenagers played by Ayo.
Oh, well, hold on. Before we jump, let's talk about the reference that was made during that sketch, because Ayo Edebiri's
the Why'd You Say It sketch. Let's move back.
Makes a stealthy allusion to something that was kind of swirling around online, because just before SNL came together, there was a resurfaced clip that Ayo Edebiri had talked about when she was on a podcast. I forget which podcast, but the subject of Jennifer...
This is quite a while ago, right?
Yeah, years ago. The subject of Jennifer Lopez came up, and Ayo Edebiri said, you know what one of the biggest scams is? Jennifer Lopez performing at the Super Bowl, because she can't sing. She's not a singer. She's a dancer, and she goes in this whole diatribe basically making fun of Jennifer Lopez and that she can't really sing and all that stuff. And it's like, it's someone who's just like being silly and like talking about stuff and making fun of celebrities. And
it's also somebody who goes, I'm never going to be on that level.
Right.
So why would I ever get in trouble for saying this?
And as we said, Jennifer Lopez was the musical guest in this episode. So
we say dumb things all the time, right?
I'm never going to meet, you're never going to meet Travis Kelce for real.
Oh God, I hope so. I'll put show your stupid bearded face to me and let's talk.
How do you not like? I mean, he's becoming more and more likable.
No, honestly, I think he's getting less likable.
Oh my God! What is wrong with
no, he's becoming more of a douche bro. Did you see
he's humble. He's humble.
Did you see what him and Mahomes were doing to the kicker during the championship game?
No, that was the kicker needed that. The kicker was being a jerk.
Fuck him.
The kicker was being a jerk.
Just a bunch of bros broing it up, and fucking throwing the ham skin around.
Patrick Mahomes could have rolled his
ham skin. I didn't even know that you were a Republican.
But it's
only when it comes to Travis Kelce.
They're just it's a conspiracy theory because Travis Kelce. Wow, Brad.
No, Travis Kelce sucks. Still sucks. Always will suck.
Wow.
Hey,
suck.
Taylor's never getting with you.
Yeah, buddy.
I don't need her to get with me. I just need her to not be with Travis.
They're gonna get married and have babies.
If I can't have her, no one will. Brad Froman.
No. If he was dating Jennifer Lawrence, then he'd be murdered.
How great would that be if he breaks up with Taylor Swift?
Oh my God,
Brad would.
It
would be the end of Brad.
Nate Laux and I would have a special midweek podcast on SNL. Just be like, Brad's not here
laughing
because
just
he's
laughing
in the hospital on the 7th floor.
He's so.
Oh my goodness. But no. So during this sketch, Ayo Edebiri's character has a moment where she has a breakdown basically after being attacked for the comments that make online, and she goes, you know what? No, maybe it's just sometimes you're 24 and you're stupid and you make comments about something and you don't really know what you're talking about, and you don't mean it, and maybe we could just let it go, and so it's a reference to her, to what had happened, because it obviously went public and that kind of thing. So it was a fun way of her to address it, So.
And I was telling these guys before the podcast, I'm so dumb I didn't know anything about that.
Even though I sent Ben the TikTok clip in the thread that we have where we talk about our podcast.
I saw it. Hey, Brad, I see you.
I appreciate you, Nate.
And, anyway, I thought that this was an allusion to Shane Gillis is coming back to host SNL, and I thought maybe they were laying the groundwork.
Who has said he will commit suicide if he ever hosts SNL?
Oh yeah, and so
fingers crossed
on a podcast previously. That's why he didn't get the show in the first place. I thought maybe that's what they were doing. Obviously not. So there we go.
All right, Dune Popcorn Bucket, written by Dan Bulla and Stephen Castillo. A group of teenagers played by Ayo Edebiri, Bowen Yang, Marcelo Hernandez, Devin Walker, and Chloe Trost sing a song about a special night. Had you guys heard of this Dune popcorn thing?
Oh, you bet your fucking ass.
Have you been sleeping anywhere under a rock somewhere?
Do either of you have one?
No, but I'm gonna get one.
I'm gonna get one,
and I'm gonna need some time to myself.
And you don't worry about what I do with it, Mom.
No. This was a joke that like went all over because
viral immediately.
The bucket had leaked after like someone who I think.
Well, why did it leak?
After someone had worked at AMC posted a picture of it, and everyone immediately was like, "Oh, that someone's gonna fuck that bucket."
It looks like a sex toy topper to a popcorn bucket.
It looks like 100%.
It's the reverse joke of the popcorn in the movie theater now.
Yeah.
Where your dick used to go to the bottom. Now it definitely goes in the top.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It is fully real, this Dune popcorn bucket.
And they haven't pulled it or anything. They're doing it.
No, it's...
Yeah. They're doing it?
They're doing it. So it is available at AMC
Hey,
theaters.
Brett, are they doing it? Tune it?
Oh, you know it. This was really funny because honestly... Because this has already made a joke all over online, everyone was making any joke they could about this. It's a little bit of an easy target, but the fact that they took it to the next level and turned it into like this musical kind of thing that was good stuff.
This is much better than waiting 3 more weeks to do it as well, which sometimes they do. It's like the joke's over.
We talked about this actually in the episode with the bowling, where all the pins get hit. And it's like the whatever. That's a very popular thing on Instagram where they have like 9/11 references and Holocaust references.
Oh, yeah.
You've seen those, right?
Yeah.
I had not.
Nate had not. And
my algorithm isn't that dark.
So I send memes to my friends all the time, whatever. I've definitely seen those. I thought in my head, I'm like, if this is one of those things where some of the writers came up with this independently of seeing that, then it's really clever. But if it's just a retread of like, because they're softer jokes than what you can find online.
Oh yeah.
So it's not. So that's just lazy writing, in my opinion. If that's truly what happened, like.
But at the same time, I do think that this had a little bit more specificity to it because
I'm talking specifically about the bowling.
No, I know
this is different.
No, I'm talking about the bowling too. For me, the bowling, because even though I recognize like, this is something that people have done online for a while, the fact that they made it less sensational and a little bit more like dramatic and drawn out, as opposed to just doing something that's like tacky and like tasteless, like that's a whole different thing.
Okay.
The fact that they carried it out longer and like made these like full scenes out of like doing the thing that was
so that was enough. That was enough for you.
Yeah.
Okay, it wasn't enough for me.
Well, you're kind of a bitch.
So the popcorn bucket though thing, I know that it's everywhere. And everyone was making the joke, but like you said, they took it then to the next level.
Yeah.
Whereas I think that the bowling stuff, the next level had already been taken online, and they just softened it a bit. That's how I looked at it anyway. But this is an escalation of that, which is wonderful. Making a full blown fucking music video out of this is awesome.
It was great. It was really good stuff. And I do wonder if they went and got the actual buckets or if they just made them themselves.
I bet they got the actual ones.
Who knows?
Lauren probably got it.
I don't know.
Hook up. He probably knows AMC chairman Russ Goldblatt.
That's a good name. All right, drugs on campus. In this sketch, college students who follow a strict lifestyle overact when their friends, played by Andrew Smukes and others, experiment with microdosing on shrooms. This sketch also features Bowen Yang, Chloe Feynman, and Devin Walker as their college friends. As somebody that has microdosed many times, Ben, what did you think of this sketch?
I don't even know where microdose is. I take the whole thing or I don't even do it.
Did you like this? It was odd. It was funny.
Oh, I thought it was so funny.
I thought it was fine. I didn't love it.
No, I really liked this sketch.
I liked it a lot, actually. So I think that, and maybe this is why I liked it. You tell me, Brad. I liked it because normally in a sketch like this, the weird people are like, you've only got one straight person in the sketch, and like this is a group of everybody agreeing like, what are you talking about? And these two are the weird ones.
Yeah,
that's different. That's played a little different than they normally do it. Is that why you thought it was maybe as funny?
I mean, I just really liked Mikey Day and Ayo Edebiri's performances because they felt like they were in a 90s Dare cheesy after school special 100%. Every time they were speaking, and having everyone else around them be just kind of like just normal, like not even reacting in the same exaggerated way was great. And so like just the way that they sold every single line that they did, and like, misusing terms and all that stuff, and especially when they left and then came back and it continued to get worse and they continued to react.
Do you remember?
More.
I felt like it went a little long though. I felt like that was a funny bit in the first couple interactions, a couple back and forth, but then I was like, okay, it's done. You thought it escalated fine. Well?
I was fine. It reminded me a little bit. It's like the reverse. Remember the cocaine in the bathroom sketch?
Yeah.
So it reminded me of the reverse of that, right? The two guys trying to score cocaine are the straight men.
Yeah.
And everybody else is weird.
Right.
In this one, everybody else is the straight man, and these two are really weird.
Yeah.
It worked on both levels, though. Both those sketches work really well because you've got two characters that are either really, really weird or really straight, and everybody else around there is the complete opposite. When sketches, normally when they do this, somebody turns and gets on their side or this and that.
Yeah.
And the fact that they didn't do that, that I think made it really funny.
There's also a great physical gag that Ayo had when the way she unfurled her luggage backpack.
Yeah, and just sternly walked away. So good.
Good. She's a great sketch comedian.
Oh,
she would
she's
do
fantastic.
really well on SNL.
100%.
Like she could have done had a really great career on SNL if she wanted. All right, moving on. Bad Couples. A news reporter played by Bowen Yang interview several random couples from New York City to ask them how they met. The sketch also includes appearances by Molly Carney as Hannah Jennings, Michael Longfellow as Keith Michaels, and Marcelo Hernandez as a man.
A man.
That is how you need to. He's got a deep voice.
He's got a baby face and a deep voice.
Oh, and he's only like 5'4". But
honestly, I'm attracted to that guy.
You should be.
I find him attractive.
You should be.
And Marcelo,
and he's got like that Latin lover. Just that guy.
I want to be next to him.
Who else was in this sketch?
Everyone.
Literally everyone.
No, but who else isn't normally in sketches?
Who else? Please don't destroy my feelings here.
Martin Hurley?
Yes, Martin Hurley appeared. Didn't have any lines.
It seemed really awkward, honestly. Didn't it seem really awkward?
Got a really big audience reaction.
Yeah.
But didn't it seem really awkward, though?
Yeah.
It was weird to see other stage actors that are just extras, you know? And then for some reason, Martin, they could have gotten just any other white guy.
Right.
Yeah, why did they bring Martin Hurley?
I wonder why. Did he write it?
I don't know. They've not. Nobody.
Oh, okay.
So just so our listeners know, the writing, when I'm able to read that, it's because the cast members or the writers, who I all follow on SNL, post something in their stories.
You follow them on X?
Usually on Instagram.
Twitter, Instagram, Reddit.
And you find it, and there's there's threads on subreddits where you can find some of that information as well. But if they don't post it, then we don't know.
Yeah. Nate does the research for the show. And it does show, buddy. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, the only writers where they list specific sketches in the credits is if it's a pre-recorded sketch. Then
correct.
They credit that in the actual.
Because there's always a director usually of that they
sure.
were. But what did you guys think of this? I thought it was fine.
No, I thought this was a solid sketch. It was not my favorite of the night. It was
fine.
Enjoyable. Having the double entrance of Ayo Edebiri with two different people was a pretty nice touch.
Oh yeah.
And then the audience was real horny to have Bowen Yang and Marcelo Hernandez kiss, huh?
Yeah.
Like they were really hoping for it. And
that honestly kind of speaks.
So was Ben.
But it kind of speaks to that moment was. I mean, because they played it so good.
They played it very organically.
I mean, honestly, they were doing a dramatic scene in a comedy sketch.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
they
really good.
They had a real meet cute.
Yeah, it was really fun. Like, good for them. They pulled it off. It was incredibly believable.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why the audience is going to get in on it. I love that. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if they could have gone maybe.
I thought it went a little long.
Well, I know they tried to include a lot of different bits. So it's like, no, this is my sister. It's my girlfriend as well, or whatever. That's not enough for me. Like, it's an easy joke, but like nothing is. The escalation, I guess, wasn't. I was waiting for something more outlandish to happen, I suppose. Mm-hmm. Not that I didn't respect what they were doing. It was funny enough.
Yeah.
But you can really throw something crazy out there, and that didn't really happen.
Yeah, I think I would agree with it in the same.
It just seemed like the definitional of just a fine sketch. It was fine.
It was fine.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Weekend Update. Weekend Update anchors Colin Jost and Michael Che tackle the week's biggest news, like Nikki Haley targeting Biden and Trump with grumpy old men campaign ads. Colin Jost headed towards a major milestone on this episode. It was his 200th episode as an SNL cast member and Weekend Update anchor. So big night for him.
200.
Yeah. So
everybody knows what the bradometer is.
It's the bradometer.
The bradometer was
not listened well.
The bradometer is everybody knows what it is. So I'm going to give this one a. If you don't know what it is, listen to the last episode. The bradometer on this one is going to be it's going to be a little lower than I expect because it's all Michael Che. It's Michael Che.
He was having fun, but he's been having fun.
But he had fun. But he was, and it was a little bit better, towards Colin Jost even. But he kept saying again, he's really leaning into the I like this audience, and it's making Colin Jost smile. But they're not directly
But
interacting.
they're not interacting because Colin Jost had fun with Sarah Sherman in the bit, which we'll get to, but it wasn't a lot with Michael Che.
We can cut this, but Brad, can you please pull up your calculator on your phone and give the breadometer and then set it aside? Because we have said this for a long time that we guess, and then you're like, I'm going to change it.
Yeah.
Okay. You got it? So I'm going to say 75. I think that it was enough of a good back and forth because Colin was laughing a lot at what Che was doing. That's what I'm going to say.
I'm going to go a little lower because I actually like the Weekend Update, but I don't think they had a ton of chemistry.
We talked about this. It doesn't matter. The jokes
I
don't matter.
know. That's what I'm saying. I just want to preface it.
It does play a little part because like it has to be good for.
Yeah,
so Nate's wrong though. It has to be good because then there's going to be interaction. If it's bad, then Colin's going to clam up.
All I was saying was that I liked Weekend Update. I thought there was some good stuff here, but I don't think the pedometer's high. I'm going to go because it's Brad with a 69.
Show your calculator, buddy.
Well, one of you is going to be very happy because I put down
75.
Oh, dang it!
Right on the freaking money.
Right on the button.
Nice.
You did it.
Thanks,
Congrats, buddy.
See? Crushed
Wow.
it.
So,
Crushed it.
all right, Brad, tell us, why did you come up with a 75?
Honestly, it's very much for the reasons basically that Ben said.
Thank you.
Because there
Thank
was
you, Brad.
there was a little bit there, and it was a very good Weekend Update. And like there is a playfulness that is unspoken between them in this one because Che is having such a good time and Colin is enjoying Che having a good time. So even though they're not directly interacting with each other, there's a little bit of camaraderie there.
Yeah, but there wasn't a lot there though.
There was not a lot there.
Maybe not to the untrained eye, Nate.
Yeah,
but if you're a true comedy scholar like Brad and I, you can see when Colin Jost has this little tiny smirk, you know that he's like, "I love you, Michael." That's what it is.
I do love Michael Chase. I love his audience.
Dude, I want that to continue.
The past 3 episodes,
he's been crushing it. He has been just on fire.
Yeah, he like the groans give him strength.
Oh,
the jokes this time were very good. I was laughing really hard.
I thought it was actually a pretty good Weekend Update.
The easiest joke they did was the Gaza ceasefire in Chicago, and then that's an easy enough joke. But there were some really, really funny things that happened, and they didn't have to rely on like scene here watching an orphanage burn down. Like they didn't have to do one of those, and they still had a really solid episode. But you know what made it even better, Nate?
All right, Weekend Update bit. CJ Rossitano on winning the SNL ticket lottery. CJ Rossitano, played by Sarah Sherman.
Oh, you mean Colin Jost Rossitano?
Stops by Weekend Update to discuss his experience winning tickets to SNL.
Gosh.
Sarah Sherman has Colin Jost's number, and I love it every time.
Well,
and it's just
my
so
favorite
much
thing
fun.
about this is
it's just so much
so
fun.
it started as Sarah Sherman just appearing as herself and roasting Colin Jost.
And that happened, what, 3 times?
I think just 2.
It was like the Sarah News.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, not even Sarah News. It was just her like being
even
on.
before that.
Yeah, it's separate from Sarah News. And like I think there was one Sarah News where it turned into her roasting.
Gotcha.
But
by the way, bring that back. We haven't seen that in a while.
Well, no, the thing is, they keep reinventing it.
Well, yeah. So they did another one where she played a guru, and that turned into her roasting Colin Jost as a character. And this is the same kind of thing where she's roasting him, but in an entirely different way.
They keep reinventing
Wonderful.
the wheel, and the wheel keeps getting fucking rounder and rounder.
Yeah.
Like this is the best version of this, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it was so
funny.
fucking funny.
Yeah. My favorite touch is that they did a slight blur filter when they cut to
Cats in the Cradle.
Yeah, it was such a good little thing.
She's such a freaking good performer that she snaps.
Yeah.
Right when she didn't miss the cue once.
Yeah.
It was perfect, and they cut perfectly.
It was so
There were no
funny.
technological issues, and I mean, even when he reacted organically to something, she matched his mannerisms.
Yeah.
Even though that wasn't planned.
Yeah, that was really
That's
funny.
really good.
And
you know?
sketch comedy needs chemistry to really,
God.
and they have so much good chemistry.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
It makes me wonder like how something like this comes about because I don't know if Sarah Sherman and Colin Jost knew each other before Sarah came to SNL.
Probably
or anything
not.
like that. So like I wondered like where this kind of relationship comes
I
from
just
and
hope
how
that
they figured it out.
you're like you have these sensibilities. Like Colin Jost maybe knows that he's never going to be able to pull off that style of comedy because that's not who he is.
Yeah.
But he probably is that funny and can be in that way, but he doesn't have the face for it. So how do I partner with somebody who can do this?
Yeah.
It's perfect. I don't ever want this to go away. I want 9 more of these.
Yeah.
Like
But
they
all
are-
different
all different
characters.
characters.
Yeah.
Also, one of my favorite parts had nothing to do with it. It was the whole like I just like watching that dump truck ass. Like
Yeah.
what was it? It's so silly. I love that. Love it.
I do wonder if they have a previous relationship or like history because she's from Long Island. so she's in the New York comedy circuit,
and maybe that
so,
is it.
If they've had
it's
a long,
possible.
Good Lord, though, 1, 2, 3, cocaine. Like everything about this worked. They were so good.
But it is a kind of a big sister, little sister, or big brother, little sister relationship that is just so much fun to watch.
Do you think? Let me ask you this: do you think
Sarah Sherman has a dump truck ass?
She might. Do you think that everything on the cue cards was he had seen them before? Was he reading anything for the first time? It looked a little bit like...
I'm kind of curious about that too, because some of it seems like he's reacting to
like
it
the joke swap stuff.
Yeah, like
a little bit.
Like he didn't know, because you can tell when he's like hamming it up and knows what he's supposed to do, but there were times when it felt like he didn't know that was coming.
And it's either that he's playing it up like, I don't want to say this, and like we're faking that I don't know.
Right.
He's so good at it though that I don't know if it's organic.
I've heard. I don't know if this is true, but it was
It's from the same audience member that said AOC was in
No, this is from the podcast that Kenan Thompson used to produce. It was I forget what it was. It was like the SNL line kind of podcast. But
was it the one with Chris Red where it's like, you won't sleep with my wife?
No,
it's very short lived.
But
it was a very short lived podcast.
But they always attended the dress rehearsals, and so they got to talk about like the differences between dress rehearsal too, and they mentioned that oftentimes the same jokes were said in dress rehearsal, but Colin Jost is really good at making it seem
it honestly, he's been doing what I mean. To your credit, Nate, you just did the research. His 200th time doing this, I think he knows what he's doing by now.
Obviously, the John Mulaney stuff, with
the Bill Hader, that's different because we know clearly he's trying to make him break.
But from what I read or from what I listened to that podcast, Lauren actually doesn't like changes.
Of course not.
Oh, no,
any of that. Yeah. So like, I think a lot of it is kind of just played up. But
that's so. It's just, man, they're so good. They're just so good together. And then we just talked about this Heidi Gardner being on the newsman tarot cards. Like that's kind of the reverse. Of what
did you watch that or not?
Yeah.
Of course he watched it.
I didn't know if because he wasn't here.
I watched the episode.
He watched it. He's still got to do his review for fucking Slash Film.
I actually didn't.
I just say, see.
I don't read it, so I don't know.
Wow.
Oh wow.
I was trying to defend you.
I knew you didn't do it because I read it.
Trying to defend you, and then sorry.
So both of you just showed your true colors.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you knew what they were. So anyway, we were very much in agreement that I want to see that Heidi Gardner again.
Yeah.
I want to see that happen with Che, just like Sarah does it with Colin.
Yeah.
I think it's
there was
really
a great
fun
chemistry between the two of them.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Trivia Quest, a game show host veers off course when contestants portrayed by Ayo Edebiri. Yeah?
Yep. Good boy.
Mikey Day and Sarah Sherman answer trivia questions. Ayo Edebiri plays the role of a game show host with Punky Johnson appearing as the judge. This is the second game show of the episode, correct?
It is.
Which one did you like better?
The first one, but I didn't not enjoy this one. I thought this was very fun. A pretty basic premise, but the way that they built up the camaraderie between Ayo Edebiri and Ayo Edebiri was a lot of fun, and the fact that she just like really leaned into it and was helping her out and that kind of stuff, and just I like that banter and that playfulness between the two that blossomed.
I like that. I think that they definitely could have played up the white guilt stuff some more.
Yeah.
I would have been okay with that. They definitely got in Mikey Day's face over and over again, which was really fun.
Because she's what?
She's what? I'm trying to say it.
She's your favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's funny, but I would have loved more of that because that's what this sketch is about.
Yeah.
And it's okay to definitely lambast.
You would have liked to bring Mikey Day into more of it?
I would have liked to bring Sarah Sherman's character as well. Yeah. Of like, hey, this isn't fair. Oh, really? It's not fair? We want to talk about fair.
To play off the awkwardness.
Because that is what this is about. They made it more individual.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just helping her when there is an opportunity there to just blast the inequality overall. And again, I really like this sketch, but you could bring this back. You could do something bigger with it later, and really target some larger points about inequality. But honestly, I laughed quite a few times.
Yeah, I did too.
I really did like when they cut to the. I mean, I saw it coming. Right, they're like, "All right, I guess we'll go to the judges." And I knew I was like, "This is gonna be 3 black women or whatever it was." And man, perfect.
All right, this sketch reminded me of Ben. If you've ever been stuck in an elevator with him, Stuck in the Elevator, written by Asha Ward, Bowen Yang, and Celeste Yim. Tensions arise when a group of characters become trapped in an elevator.
You're damn right they do.
Trapped in an elevator.
Was that an Aerosmith?
It was.
Yeah, good.
It was a variation.
Hey, you see how
a parody, if you will.
You see how we speak each other's language when it comes to music. So, all right, what did you guys think of this one? Stuck in the elevator.
Fucking weird.
It was so odd. I don't know who. Actually, Asha Wardboy and Yang Celestine wrote it.
I didn't really get it.
I got it, but to me, Sorry, I
got it. And then when they opened the elevator button and got out there, I didn't know why that.
Yeah,
part.
so this to me, this was the weakest sketch of the night, other than the cold open, because obviously, but yeah, like it's weird because like the gag is obviously that it escalates so quickly, and that's amusing in itself.
Yes,
but at the same time, it felt like the sketch was moving too fast to really like work, I guess. I don't that seems counterintuitive.
You jump to a literal fantasy land for real, where they leap out and now they're in this magical world after what, a minute and a half?
Yeah, I felt like it felt like to get to that point they needed more build up. And
I don't even know they need to get there.
Yeah,
I think there's just the fact that the firefighters are like so concerned, like, what are you talking about? Does anybody actually want to get out of the elevator and then trying to convince them to get in? And maybe one of the firefighters decides to get into the elevator and keep going with that. I think that could have been just as fun.
It was such an elaborate ending.
It was so weird.
Especially for an ending that felt like it was like, well, we don't really know how to end this. But like they really leaned into it.
Yeah, really.
It went real Sarah Sherman at the end there.
Yeah,
it's just weird. Just weird.
Exactly.
I'm not. But to Brad's point though, when almost immediately they were like, well, Bowen's line is maybe the line of the night, where he's like, "There's 3 men and 2 women." So there's enough. What did he say? There's
enough meat for the mouth.
Enough meat for the mouth. And the way he's, I'm like, oh my god.
But I do have one part that I did enjoy, which was when they started like being what they wanted to be, and everyone wanted to be a mailman.
And they're like, no, you already said you were going to be an astronaut.
Yeah.
No, you can't be. You know what? You can be a mailman, but you got to pick something else.
Yeah.
It was good. There was enough there to like.
Yeah.
It got so weird so quickly.
In any other episode, this would have been a better sketch, but because the rest of the episode was pretty much like very good, like this kind of just felt like, Like
I don't know what we're doing here.
Yeah.
For sure. Nate, what do you think?
I thought it was fine. I thought it really veered at the end there, which kind of lost me in the whole sketch as a whole. Like I just thought,
what do we do? Why are we going that way?
or like sometimes they have you by a rope and you're going, okay, I'm going with this, and then it was a disappointing ending to the sketch. If they would have escalated to something that I thought was really fun, it would have been a better sketch.
Sure.
But in a night that I thought had some really good sketches, it just was a forgettable sketch for me.
Very fair.
But all right, speaking of a great sketch with Ayo Edebiri, this was School Hypnotist, written by Andrew Dismukes, Vanessa Jackson, Asha Ward, and August White. A professional hypnotist played by Andrew Dismukes, who could really only play this character. He does so well in this awkward character. Introduces the art of hypnosis to a group of high school students. The teacher is played by Heidi Gardner, and the janitor is played by Kenan Thompson. This is kind of Ayo Edebiri's character is kind of like when Brad tries to like name drop all of the people he's met, but he doesn't want to really name drop, but he's kind of beating around the bush a little bit about it, and then it just finally comes out. It's like possessed.
Well, Ben, I can't believe you hypnotized me to let you know that I met Chris Hemsworth.
What a weird comparison.
I know, it's exactly what I thought of. I'm like, this is
Brad all day long.
Yeah, this is Brad.
Solomon Brad.
A lot of people say I do have the vibe of a black bisexual boy. So
I've said it for years.
I've said this so many times.
Yeah.
You definitely didn't listen to the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, exactly. This was hilarious. I loved this actually.
Awesome.
I loved this sketch
this
too.
was so much fun.
It felt like
she was possessed. She was so good in this.
So into this character.
The belt move.
Yeah.
The fucking belt move.
It's like her own variation on like Steve Urkel in a way.
It's Pat a little bit.
Yeah. It felt like a character, like I feel like this is her character that she had in her back pocket.
She wasn't on the cue card. She was just like in it.
It was so good. It felt like she was a cast member on SNL, and this was a recurring character.
This is a Kristen Wiig or Kate McKinnon level character.
Yeah. It was so good.
Yeah. Fully formed.
I'm so glad you guys thought that, because I'm watching this. I'm like, this is electric.
I watched it 3 times.
So weird.
I watched it
so
3
funny.
times.
And I love the escalation too of Kenan Thompson suddenly getting into the hypnotist too. It was so funny.
And to be clear, I am not telling this person to come out as bi, because it's a kid. And then, so I think something that helps this sketch is Heidi Gardner. And I know, I like Heidi Gardner. But the fact that she is...
I didn't say anything.
And you looked at me weird. She is in this sketch because she's letting the audience know, no, he is a little off. Yeah. This isn't normal. And so you do need to have a side character like that sometimes. Make sure that everybody in the sketch understands who you're supposed to think is weird.
Yeah.
Because if the
to be that North Star a little bit.
If the teacher is also going like, yeah, Mr. What are you doing? Then it loses something.
Yeah.
But the fact that like now we're back on board, like everybody knows, like, yeah, Solomon, you're being a little aggressive.
Yeah.
It made it so much better. So it's just so well. That's a really well written sketch. The performance is number one, but it's a very well written. It's a good
note on the writing that the subtlety of the sub characters.
It does matters
as well.
And that means that the director has to kick that camera at the right time, and that Heidi has to deliver her line without a flub. And this only works if everything's firing. You could have kept the camera on her the entire time, obviously, but the fact that there were a lot of moving parts here as far as the background characters, it worked really well, especially oh my God, Keenan was great coming in at the end. So and then just like all of them singing. Oh, wow. Good stuff.
Some vocalists on this, too.
Yeah, well, and I almost see what's the new person's name?
Chloe Trost.
When I see Chloe Trost in a sketch, now I'm like, I wonder.
She's gonna be singing.
I wonder what musical we're doing, because they really are relying on her. I do want to see her do a little bit more than that, because again, you don't want to see it coming, right?
It was a note that I thought as well when I was watching Sarah Sherman. What is this? Her third season or second?
Sarah Sherman, I think it's her third, right?
Third, I think so, yeah.
But how comfortable she is, and like you go from a Chloe Trost who's new, who's doing great,
to
a Sarah Sherman who's just found their groove. It takes 2 or 3 seasons, but they just find their groove.
Just crushing it, man.
All right, moving on. People's Court, Bad Hair Day, written by Alex English, Jimmy Fowley, Gary Richardson, and Asha Ward. A woman portrayed by Ayo Edebiri is suing her former hairdresser, played by Ego Odom. The judges played by Kenan Thompson, the bailiff played by Devin Walker, and Janelle White by Punky Johnson. So this was kind of a 10-to-1 sketch, honestly.
This was
odd.
This was great until they classically didn't know how to end it.
Yeah, they did.
It was the worst ending of the night for any sketch. I really enjoyed what they were doing though. Like it's an exposed brain that's insane. Like her blowing on it so she doesn't remember it. There's a lot of really funny stuff here, but it just takes an absolute dump on the lawn at the end. I mean, just embarrassingly so.
Yeah.
Anybody couldn't have come up with a.
It didn't really know how to escalate as
so
much.
Weird.
It certainly didn't.
What do you think, Bradford?
I agree. The ending was just like, what?
What the fuck?
Yeah. Their performances were good though.
I know. I
thought there was some good comedy happening there.
There should have been hopefully a way to button that up where you that ends on a high note. It's a big laugh and then end. Whoa. Yeah. What a missed opportunity.
But overall the sketch was still
wacky.
Very,
it's weird.
Funny. Yeah. And Punky Johnson looks so funny with like her hair pulled back and like there's just a huge.
And the fact that like Keenan and
Devin make fun of her. Yeah.
And it's like we don't normally do. Yeah, you could tell. It's like, oh, sorry about that, but we just couldn't help ourselves. Like that's great. There's some really good stuff here.
A note on Punky Johnson. We have before said that Punky Johnson needs to find her voice. Do you guys feel like she's kind of doing a little more of that this season? It's
one of those things where it's like it can be hit or miss. Like sometimes she has like great moments within episodes. Yep. I don't think she's still fully found her groove. If anything, I think
just don't know if she ever will be a featured part of every episode.
Yeah, I think that like she has these like little niches where she kind of fits into various sketches in a certain way that like really helps the sketch without being the star. Mm-hmm. She's had a couple instances where she's been funny, like the sketch when they had Bad Bunny and they did the Spanish soap opera, and she was hilarious in that. And every now and then she gets a moment to shine like that.
The best thing she ever did was her and Mikey Day being themselves on Weekend Update.
That was funny. Yeah,
it was the funniest thing. So I want
that she's actually said,
but
bring that back.
And I want more. I want to if that comes up again on the next Weekend Update next week or whatever, where she and Mikey come back on and do that again, I'm gonna laugh. It was great. Yeah. So she's the best when she can be herself, and so I want to see more of that. I do.
Yeah. Because I don't think that she's bad by any means. I do think that it's and not everyone does find their groove. On SNL.
I will say though she is way better than even last year at delivering her lines. Like if you look back,
I agree. That's what I'm saying.
A little bit more
feel
stilted, a
she's-
little bit more whatever. She's at least comfortable now, and can
I agree.
in a sketch deliver line without pulling focus. That that was a little stilted delivery.
And she's not just playing the waiter delivering
Exactly.
food to the table.
Yeah.
They're
right?
doing there's more meat there for sure.
Yeah, so I just wanted to give her a shout out because I do think she's growing into this. Whether she'll be on SNL for many more seasons, I don't know.
I
But
like
she's
her a lot.
finding
though.
her voice
I want to
slowly.
See, I just want to now.
I want her to get a character though.
I
I
wanna see
want
more
her
of her.
to find a character that
Yeah.
she can own that is really, really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Because I think there's something there. So, all right, that's the episode. There was no Comfort Time sketches when we are recording, at least at this point, on Monday night. So there's nothing there on the SNL YouTube channel. Let's do MVP first. Who was your MVP of the night?
Ayo Edebiri.
Yep, I'm giving it to
By
Ayo
fucking
Edebiri.
far.
I thought so too because
Incredible.
she should have been on SNL.
Yeah,
It was
for,
so
for her
good.
first time hosting,
Oh,
she did an incredible job. She
crushed it.
easily fit in with the cast.
Character work.
Felt like
Character
she
work,
could have
character work.
been with them for a few years, and yeah, just very fun, very natural in
and-
sketches.
And it is hard to know the moment, to feel the moment, and to not miss the moment.
I mean,
She
and she's
didn't.
so young and just again. Yes, she does have that stand-up background, and yes, she's got. She mentioned in the monologue she's friends maybe at the show a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure some of the writers and the cast members came
But
up with her in New York.
just, good
Sarah
Lord.
Sherman may have been. I don't know.
Somebody just that confident, and just again maybe even bringing a fully formed character to the show. Like I don't know who wrote that, but
The
wow,
School Hypnotist.
Yeah,
Andrew Dismukes, Vanessa Jackson, Asha Ward, and August White.
So maybe that's, and again, I will shout out if we had to, gun on my head, I had to pick a cast member this week. Dismukes was great.
He was.
The hypnotist was great. He was in a lot. He had a lot of heavier lifting.
And he helped
this week.
write that sketch, which was really great.
Really, really good stuff.
All right, sketch of the night. School Hypnotist.
School Hypnotist.
That was mine.
Yeah, that's for
Yeah.
me too.
I'm just thinking about this. I didn't actually pick one beforehand.
I also liked Why'd You Say It a lot. I thought that was very good. but-
I liked Dune Popcorn Bucket a little bit more than
Did
that.
you?
Yeah.
Okay. But for me, School Hypnotist
Yeah,
was...
the character work is just phenomenal.
There was magic happening in this sketch.
It was so.
Especially if that's not a character that she had in her back pocket.
Oh God! If
then,
that's
like,
the case, then it's
yeah.
the best one of the season.
Yeah.
Maybe in 2 years. Like honestly,
Yeah.
Nobody comes.
if she fit that well into that character.
nobody
and it's
comes
not
that hard
hers,
on a character.
It is almost the greats, the Justin Timberlakes,
Yeah.
the characters that are the hosts that
Bring
give
it on down to
themselves
Homelessville.
over
Yeah.
to.
I would if she hosts again, and I hope she does.
And that comes out- it
I
has
hope,
to come
yeah,
back,
if Solomon doesn't come back, I'll be pissed.
Seriously. Oh yeah. No, you're not wrong. That's amazing. Yeah. Well, I'm just. Last week was fine. Week before sucked. This episode was great. I'm
Would
so
you say
happy.
best episode of the season so far?
Not of this season, probably, but
It's up there.
it's up there.
It's got to be in top 3, I think.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So who would you say is the best of the season then?
Read out the hosts, sir.
All right, hold on. All right, let's start from the beginning. Pete Davidson, Bad Bunny, Nate Bargatze, Timothy Chalamet, Jason Momoa. You loved the Jason Momoa episode. Emma Stone, Adam Driver. Oh, those were 2 good episodes.
Yeah,
Emma Stone, Adam
that's
Driver.
it. Top 3.
Kate McKinnon, Jacob Elordi, Dakota
Yeah,
Johnson,
it's-
and
It's
Ayo-
Adam Driver and Emma Stone and Ayo Edebiri.
Me, it's Emma Stone, Adam Driver, Ayo Edebiri.
okay.
Really?
Yeah, I like the Emma Stone episode better.
All right, fair enough.
All right. Well,
All right.
I do want to give a shout out. Probably my fourth place. I thought the Nate Bargatze episode was really good
Oh,
too.
it's funny. Who was it the week before, Nate?
Bad Bunny. Who had
Bad Bunny's episode was
that's
surprising.
a really
He
good
had some-
episode too. I think that's
the
number 4
episode
for
as
me.
a whole wasn't perfect, but there were some sketches in there that were just.
Those are really-
they would make my top 10 sketches.
So
probably.
the sketch of the Bad Bunny episode that comes to mind is the one. It's a pre-tape where they
Yep. It's so good.
the World
It is-
Travelers.
yeah.
It'll be a top
So
10
good.
sketch of the season for me.
And it's just the same thing with Nate Bargatze and the meters and feet.
Mhm.
George Washington. Yeah.
Amazing sketch.
So if people are saying not a good season, there's been
Plenty
some
of-
bad
plenty of
episodes
stuff to celebrate.
as there
though.
always are, but there's been some great
just
stuff
recently,
as well.
I heard somebody say, "I'm old enough to remember when SNL was funny." It's like, well, you're old enough that you should be in the fucking ground then.
Whoa,
Yeah.
jeez, oh Pete.
No, I'm not pulling any punches when it comes to SNL. You don't fuck with my show.
I mean, you just say, "Oh, I didn't know you're that dumb."
Do we have anybody coming up on SNL that we need to watch soon?
no, the season's done and we're finished. No, as of
Shane Gillis.
yes, a very shocking announcement was made during this episode, and that comedian Shane Gillis is going to be hosting the February 24th episode. Is that the right date?
Correct. Yep.
He really did say on a podcast that he would kill himself rather than host.
Yeah, and
SNL.
so for those of you, if you maybe don't know who Shane Gillis is, Shane Gillis was actually hired as a featured player on Saturday Night Live a few years ago. But before he could make his debut, some podcast clips surfaced of him appearing where he was making racist and homophobic remarks. Granted, they were quote unquote in jest, as a comedian is one to do.
Yep.
But they got him in some hot water, and they announced that they would not be hiring him as a cast member after all. And there was a whole brouhaha about it. And I think that is actually
that about 10 years ago. Is it roughly?
No, I think it was only like 5 or 6 years ago.
Well,
right?
I mean, he didn't get the show 2 years ago. The podcast clips were from about 5 to 7 years ago, I think.
So yeah, it's so the controversy around that is kind of what got him a little more attention.
The Shane Gillis thing was 5 years ago. SNL, 2019.
So it's just hard to keep track.
Wait. He didn't get the show 2019?
Yeah.
It's been 5 years since he didn't get the show.
I know, man. Time, dude.
It was Bowen Yang's year and Chloe Feynman, and they've been on the show forever.
You know what, guys? This is the last episode. I'm going to bed. I can't believe that. I thought, I'm not joking, dude. I thought, 2 years.
Anything before 2020 now is
it's in the before time.
But yeah, so he got a bigger following because of this, because those are the kind of people who support trash whenever they see somebody who's getting quote unquote canceled.
Yeah, so he got all over Joe Rogan shit, Tom Segura,
and
all these guys that
his podcast has gotten more popular. He just recently had his own stand-up special on Netflix, and so now.
But I will say that the stand-up special on Netflix is funny.
His stand-up special is pretty good, and there is an interesting thing about him, and we've talked about this off air, is that there is part of Shane Gillis's persona and his comedy that feels like he's almost in on pandering to the audience that like has made him famous, who like would be complaining about getting canceled and like that's not racist, but in a way where like he's also kind of making fun of them without them knowing it. It's a really interesting line to walk.
So he was a cast member, or at least a recurring cast member, or guest cast member on Pete Davidson's recent show Bubkiss. So he must be friends with a lot of this group.
And if you watch his stand-up special, you'll see that one of the reasons that he was likely going to be hired is because he has a pretty decent Donald Trump impression.
His impressions are really good. So I think I brought this up with Ben maybe in one of the... We talked about this at least maybe just in person, but Louis C.K., which again, we won't get into his backstory, but he makes a point where Shane Gillis is the only person he's ever seen that can do the shtick that he does in Brooklyn and get a bunch of hipsters to laugh. Like he does this, really almost not racist, but there are certainly times that are racist, but like not everything he does is racist.
There's stuff that feels like it's right on the line.
Yep.
Of actually being offensive.
And Louis C.K. says he's brilliant
really.
Because he can actually do it, and the Brooklyn people love him.
Yeah,
what it is he's a half to a quarter step removed from being that guy.
Yeah.
So he'll say things like, I'm not necessarily Republican. I got a Fox News dad though. I'm
not a Republican yet.
And I love my dad, and I respect my dad. I think my dad is smart, but he also loves Fox News. So he's aligning right there on the edge of everything. But then he's also got an uncle that has Down syndrome, and so he used to coach the Special Olympics.
The bits on that,
and the bits on that are amazing. But if you just take that kind of out of context and you say, "Wow, he's making fun of the Special Olympics," and he's like, "Motherfucker, I was there. I coach. I love these people. These are my people."
Yeah.
Then you maybe deep dive a little bit more and understand that he's making fun of you if you think that way about the Special Olympics. It's honestly, Shane Gillis is really more nuanced than a lot of people think.
But at the same time, when you
it's still problematic as fuck when you listen to his podcast.
Yeah, when you listen to some of the stuff he has said, it's like there's stuff
in the past.
There's stuff that doesn't walk that line.
No, not at all.
But a lot of people have stuff like that, especially when you're a comedian. Because
you make fun of Jennifer Lopez sometimes.
There you go. But yeah, so I mean, it's it's really
weird.
It's really interesting because it's not one of those things where like I'm immediately pissed off at the things he says. Unlike someone like Dave Chappelle, who has really had a lot of trash stuff recently.
Yeah, he's just
you don't put him in the Dave Chappelle.
I don't actually.
No,
Dave Chappelle is anti-trans.
I feel like Shane Gillis could potentially be on the cusp, and like. Especially because he has a friendship with Dave Chappelle. He totally like hangs around with Dave Chappelle.
You know who else does? John Mulaney and some of the comedians we really
exactly.
love.
Well, there's a reason that Dave Chappelle was not booed off the stage when he showed up at the Good Nights the other night. at SNL. I mean,
although if I don't know if you guys noticed this or talked about it.
Bowen,
Bowen and Sheriff Sherman being like pointing at me, and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Brad, you should.
Did we ever figure out why that happened?
Like why Dave was?
Maybe he was there to get Shane the hosting gig.
Listen, it's a weird line, and I am probably more not excited, interested to see what this is going to be.
It's a fantastic move by SNL.
Oh, if you're trying to drum up interest in a show from people that are on the right, you're going to get more people tuning into this show.
Yep.
Until the next time they let Dave Chappelle host for some reason.
We could talk about not having Nikki Haley on, but that was the first thing I saw about SNL on Twitter that night was Nikki Haley was on. So
and Lauren is not probably stupid, so he does understand that yes, you do have to do equal time, but also we're going to get views if we do certain things. And I've got a business to run.
Yeah,
I get that.
It'll be interesting. I'm excited to see it. We'll see what happens. I doubt it'll be as controversial as Dave Chappelle usually is.
I'm very curious what he will say during his monologue.
Because
there's no way they can't address it.
Well, and also he's a stand-up, so normally it's a 10-minute monologue.
Right.
You'll let him go.
Yeah.
So if Shane Gillis is at all like vindictive and has just been holding on for this opportunity, and he's like, well, I made a couple million. Fuck him. I'm gonna burn the whole place down. Who knows?
Yeah.
That's gonna go crazy. We'll see.
All right, we'll see. So we'll be back in a couple weeks. But in the meantime, you can listen to our other podcast, Go Flix Yourself, where we talk about the most recent movies we've seen. We review movie trailers, and we just have a lot of fun.
Just generally dick around.
Probably going to have to watch Stuart Saves His Family now.
No, we got a couple weeks. We got a couple. Let's just take a... Jeez Louise. No, I've been pushing that off.
You guys can't keep pushing Stuart away.
All right. Hey.
He's good enough. He's smart enough.
And gosh
dog on it.
Oh, dog on it.
People like him.
Brady Bear, where can people find you online?
Slashfilm.com is where I write about Saturday Night Live. Typically, I was traveling and I was sick for a couple weeks, so I did not review the Jacob Elordi and Dakota Johnson episodes.
Who did?
Nobody. And rightfully so. But you can check out my my full review of the Ayo Edebiri episode, and typically after every new episode, you'll find my review on Sunday in the afternoon on slashfilm.com, and also various remarks here and there on Twitter at Ethan_Anderton.
All
right, and Ben and I are on
we're on stuff,
so you can find us.
Also, I mean, I will tell you that there's a if you're anywhere near Northwest Indiana, there's a $10,000 treasure hunt going on right now that I'm sponsoring at the Full Tilt Arcade and Pinball. So you could win $10,000. Just saying.
Yeah. And I've got nothing. So hey, I want to thank you guys for listening. We'll be back in a couple weeks with another episode. Please share this episode, rate us, subscribe, tell your friends and your family when you see them over Valentine's Day, and be like, hey, I got this great podcast for you for Valentine's Day.
These three chuckleheads that you need to listen to.
All right.
All three of them are very romantic.
Very romantic. We're going to kiss.
Yeah, passionately.
I didn't know that. All right. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. Bye-bye.